Hi guys, in today's video we'll look at a scenario in which Russia and Japan go to war. And why did I come up with this idea? Because of the Russo Japanese War. A war that happened in 1905. That went very horrible for Russia. And it was one of the reasons that ultimately led to a few revolts, which in the long run led to the Bolsheviks seizing. Which that is not really a great way of how it worked. But it was an embarrassment towards Russia, as Japan was the first non-European nation to beat a European nation. Which is pretty cool. But then they started just winning. Yeah. And well, now we're at where this war will take place. And I would say, in this war scenario, most likely there will be two people join almost instantly. There's another nation that will probably join, but later. There's two, but I can't tell you. They dislike each other, is the only hint you get. But rapidly, South Korea enters the war. And no, South Korea and North Korea were not those nations. And so let's look at naval dominance. And you can see I'm making the colors. Yeah, I kind of can't hide that. But yeah. And well, this kind of is what it looks like. Of course, I could record less of the map. But then we run into the problem where I lose a lot of the map. And well, this is what Japan's naval dominance probably looks like in South Korea's. With North Korea, although not really great. And then the Pacific Fleet. And why do I have it like this? Yeah. And well, I'd say they're probably here. The major strategic goal of Japan is probably take Vladivostok, because that's a port on the Pacific coast. But let's say Russia's upper hand first as they push Japan back. They make a siege towards the Kuril Islands and towards an island named, I don't know. Well, from Sakhalin, they enter this island. Well, they're also probably flooding in troops to North Korea right now. And with a lot of naval landings in the north of Japan. Eventually, it enters into a stalemate as Japan tries to hold. Japan is a really strong nation. This is not the same as their fight in Ukraine. No, much harder. With North Korea launching an offensive. But ultimately, they are just basically barraging Seoul with weapons. Yep. That's the worst when your capital is right here and who's invading you is right there. Unlike Tokyo, which I think is there. That might be a different city. It could also might be there, I can't remember. But there's loads of cities in Japan. Japan is really populated. With the Battle of Seoul already broke out, guys. Well, this is not really great so far, with Russia launching a naval offensive here. Why they do it like that? So they can knock back this naval area. Which leads them to be open to try and get through here. But, unfortunately, for Russia, this naval campaign doesn't go as well. And they get kicked back. Slightly, but not really that bad. With Russia launching a naval amphibious landing there. As this war would have a lot of amphibious landings, which isn't easy, I guess. I guess it's not easy, but I don't know. With Seoul probably going to fall. But as we know, countries usually don't fall. Well, they usually do. And while Seoul is completely encircled, as is somehow taken. There's definitely someone helping. And Yes, the world is not really doing much, but that was to make the scenario more entertaining. And yeah, my mouse is gone weird. And I don't know why. Look, see, it's an... Oh, that arrow's gone. That's good news, guys. As now we can focus in on the war, with Japan sending some forces to South Korea, which somehow managed to do this. But they can't really get much help, it seems, oddly. In real life, I know there'd be alliances and stuff. With North Korea defending as hard as it can that area. As Russia just sends a big lot of ships like this to hold on. With... I don't know who else would help them. Let's go to Europe and see. In this scenario, I got rid of that because it's kind of hard to fight a two fronts of war. And well, then we have the Philippines. Maybe they would do something, but I feel like that would have some kind of result with China, which may or may not happen in the future. As there are proxy fighters, probably. America probably has forces helping Japan, but that's unknown. With the second Russo Japanese war, maybe not the second, the Russo Japanese war too. The Russo Japanese war. I think there's probably 2 wars between Japan and Russia. And while the North Island, after a fierce resistance, ultimately almost falls. And then falls as most of the forces have fled, somehow across Russian-occupied territories. And as they get pushed all the way back to there. Japan's geography wouldn't allow this, though. So the Russo-Japanese War, this one, continues. As a landing is made here. But I can see one reason why one nation would join. It might happen. With South Korea launching a siege on Seoul known as the Second Battle of Seoul. And how are they getting the momentum? Because Russia is trying to take over Japan. But it's really slow. And well, North Korea's army is not in a good place. They're probably already not getting enough starving. So they basically start deserting, basically. And Russia is not happy at this, as they got kicked out when they were halfway through Seoul, and they somehow got kicked out. But Russia says, well, just don't let them enter your country. North Korea says, yeah, they'll never. And then this happens. And Pyongyang is within walking distance. Look, see? The battle probably had broke out. And why am I zooming in on this battle? Because I can. Because it's fast. With some partisans happening throughout the country. And why am I using a different color for partisan activity? Fine, it's not really partisan, but I would say it's more rebel forces. With them revolting in the north. But somebody helps North Korea, which causes this rebel group to be kicked out. But nobody knows who. With China saying if South Korea continues any further north, China will be forced to intervene. South Korea continues north. And well, this was a big mistake of somebody. And well, yeah, they say, yep, we're ready to fight. And everybody else says, wait a minute, if you're joining, we can join. Which this includes Vietnam, the Philippines, who aren't even colored, Malaysia. We get India will help somebody. And yeah, this has, well, really gotten more tense, the situation. with some North American countries, including Canada and the US. Why is Canada joining? Because they're the US's friend. And who else do you think is going to join? Honestly, guess. You'll know. Guess in the comments. Quickly, before I continue. You better guess in the comments that. With them joining. Then France joins. Britain joins. And well, Poland joins. Belarus joins. Myanmar joins. Laos joins. Cambodia joins. As this has really became a regional war with Ukraine joining. Okay. And the Baltics join. And, well, Australia joins. And I'll be back in a few seconds with all these colors in. After everybody joins, all the American troops come flooding into Japan. And Australian Americans come flooding into Europe. And while Russia doesn't think anything bad could happen if they invade Poland. But they made one big mistake with the forces they had over in Europe. That's why they weren't taking Japan that fast, because, well, they had forces all ready for this. As they enter into the Baltics and they move up. Well, kind of doesn't look too good. But, unfortunately, well, they're fighting Finland. They can't beat Finland. But they also triggered a big problem, which you might not guess. But they kinda triggered Article 5. And they're like, seeing as nothing happens. But kinda is a bit fair. As NATO joins the conflict. And well, some of their major allies join. Because, well, why not? They say, basically. Because they already have technically kind of involved themselves a bit. And well, I think it's great looking, the map, even though I don't have every small piece colored in. Well, but Russia has an idea of going as fast as it can and getting as far as it can with most of its resources still left in Europe. But they're struggling to control the Baltics. As the Baltics are being controlled by the sea, basically. So if they can't move their naval dominance, well, they have to get around it, which they do this. Well, yeah. How's this happening? Because, well, remember, in this timeline, there's a few things that didn't happen. And, well, with American forces flooding into Japan, so came their naval assets, which their first mission in Asia is to kick Russia's navy as far back as they can. Which they do so great in this that they take back all of Russia's naval dominance. And, well, unfortunately, there's one big cost to this, which was the island of Taiwan. This is a strategic loss. Why is this a strategic failure? Because, well, yeah. And most of the Russian forces have retreated, with them storming into Vietnam and into Thailand. But they're stopped in Thailand. But they are eventually stopped in Vietnam. What do I mean by that? Well, Vietnam says you can't control us. And many people within Vietnam rise up to reform their government. As they kick everyone back. They can't get any resources in. And Thailand kicks China back. And well, the worst thing is though, they managed to make a land grab into North Korea. And they land in the Sakhalin to make it harder for Russia to get resources they also take here. And they move and take Vladivostok. China sees there's nothing left they can do, basically, but they don't give up. And why hasn't India and China fought yet? They're bordering, right? But let's look at the Himalayas. Right, guys? And the Himalayas basically make it impossible for forces to move through here. We have jungles, but they could move into here, but this area is really populous. And then we have this giant landmass there. But China also has protection here, as they have this naval area fully dominated. And then they have their forces like this in one line, and then in another line here, so that in case it goes bad, they can just retreat to there. And then here's more mountains, but that's not important. No. And so, well, Pakistan is one of China's only good opportunities for an invasion. Kind of gets invaded, and within days, they lose Islamabad. And, well, their people are sick of war and give up, as if that would happen. But I don't think that would happen, but it could. You know, war. And governments cause most of the fighting, honestly. But let's see. So, yeah. And Myanmar gets inundated with not greatness. And, well, South China Sea conquest that kind of is going on, well, that's kind of reversed. And, well, is the Asian theater fighting going to stop? Well, China doesn't yet agree to an armistice, but they are kind of eventually forced. And, well, there's a lot of terms and conditions to this treaty, probably. With a land grab being made, with an attack towards Beijing, with the Navy collapsing in most areas except South China Sea area. Well, Beijing is in for a big fight, but ultimately America walks in and takes it. And they continue down, with Taiwan launching an invasion, with China seeing this all going wrong, and even wronger, surrenders. And, well, yeah, it's just Russia left. I repeat that, it's just Russia left. And Belarus, with America saying, are we ready for a full-on frontage assault towards Moscow, with a military land grab basically made, with Russia trying scorched earth policy again, with many of the navies winning, basically. But, yeah. And the naval forces roam through the land forces, with Russia in trouble, as Kalaria is fully cut off now, leading to this falling. And then Canadian forces are helping big time, as they take St. Petersburg with Finland. But what else are Canadian forces doing? Oh my god, what did they just do? Hey, see, they can invade cold. Probably. And, well, Russia's forced into armistice, with there being two treaties. One for Europe and one for Asia. Let's start with the European, the treaty. for European nations. And well, yeah. As you can see, it was a pretty great treaty for most people, except the bad guys, which were Russia and Belarus. But Russia still benefits as they get one region, Belarus. Yep, they get one thing, Belarus. But that's after Belarus lost a bunch of land. The Baltic Confederation forms, and Poland's there. And well, what nations can we just get rid of from this map for the Treaty of Asia? Why is the Treaty of Asia last? Because it's more important for the story. So, yeah. And the Treaty of Asia will influence all of us. Thailand, which takes half of Laos, half of Cambodia, parts of Myanmar, and parts of China, with Vietnam doing basically the same thing, except they didn't take any part of... They took parts of Cambodia, Laos, and China, with Taiwan taking parts of China, with Japan taking outer Manchuria, and, well, here. America takes that, Canada takes that, then we have Australia, who gets nothing. India annexes Pakistan, as well as annexes some land from here, which is Myanmar. South Korea annexes North Korea and parts of Manchuria, with another aspect being gave to the CCP, the Communist Party, is taken out of power and replaced by more democratic. With then this part of these Tibet and Xinjiang shall be freed. Myanmar shall never be annexed or join China. Russia shall not invade no countries. But a new government hasn't been established in Russia or China because, well, those two parts didn't end up coming through. And what is the end of this video going to be like? Well, guys, thank you for subscribing. I hope you continue your support by subscribing, as we are at 204 subscribers, which means we have 46 away from 100. It's March 15th, 25th, so we have 6 days left to get to 100 subscribers, 250 subscribers, so please like and subscribe, as that'd be very helpful. Leave a comment, that'd be really great. And remember, please like, subscribe, comment, and share this video. Wild Mapper out!